Welcome to That Kind of Nerds coverage of Game of Thrones. We are here talking about episode 7 of season 7, the finale, which was called The Dragon and the Wolf. I am Josh Burns, joined by CJ Mellon and Brian Thornton.
Hello.
What up?
So, it's a finale.
It is a finale.
It was a long episode.
You know, everyone's been saying that. It did not feel that way.
It was like an hour 20 and change.
It didn't feel that way.
It did not feel that way.
No, it went quickly. It was long though. It played for long.
Yeah, which next season is going to be apparently a lot of. We're going to get longer episodes next season due to the fact that it's, you know,
longer,
a half season.
Harder, stronger episodes. It's going to be great.
I would like to see, yes, I would like to see a bunch of 80 to 90 minute episodes, but you know, we'll speculate more as we get closer to that in like 5 years. Until then,
it's like 551 days.
It
Calm
is
down.
forever away. It is forever away. It's as long as I remember waiting for The Sopranos.
I still just want to know the over-under on if George R. R. Martin has all the books done by the time that the series
he's not
ends.
writing any more books. He doesn't need to.
I'll just
What
copy
if he
what they
has them
did.
written and they're just like in a vault somewhere waiting till he dies to get released?
Yeah, yes, indeed. All right, well, we're going to start where the episode started, which is at King's Landing, with the whole troop there going to visit Cersei and try to talk her into coming to their side of the battle.
Yeah, I like the show of force, and you see Grey Worm, you're like, oh, all right, this guy made it. Again, travel not meaning a whole lot. We're just letting everyone be where they need to be, and I'm quite okay with that. But I like the little bit where they're just like, how many barrels of oil? 500. Better go get 500 more. I mean, this shit's going down.
Better get another 500, yeah.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Right.
That scene was fantastic, fantabulous. It was everything that we wanted. Finally, all the main characters are in the same scene together. I don't think Jon and Cersei have been on the same screen since season 1.
Yeah, like episode 2.
Right.
Yeah, and Daenerys hasn't been on screen with any of them till this season. So it's really cool to see that.
Can I do the fun fact? The fun fact of this?
I don't care about how many people were on fire in this scene.
No. The set, right, is an actual Roman gladiator amphitheater. It's outside of Spain. It's an actual gladiator arena that they're in.
What about everybody being there and Daenerys making her entrance? And Cersei just kind of being like, well,
this bitch
You're
right
here.
Late.
This bitch right here. Right.
It's the guy who shows up late to the lunch meeting and pulls up in like a really hot car and throws the keys at the valet and says, park it later.
You got Cersei doing like her best Michaela Maroney. You know what I mean? She's just there with the side face, not shaking her head, not impressed at all.
Inside everyone's shitting their pants, including her, but she's like, I can't say anything. I am refusing to talk first.
Right. Yeah.
So office
first one to
reference
talk
for those
loses.
people.
But she shows up with 2 dragons, right? And everybody's sort of cowering, and then Cersei's sitting there like, there's a couple dragons.
Well, that's because she's also doing the math, going, 2. That's odd.
2 is less than 3 last time I checked.
I mean, if I was Daenerys, I would just bring the 1. But listen, the entrance was really cool. You're destroying shit, and you get the little dragon wing escalator going down. I mean, like it's a powerful moment, and knowing that dragon is obviously not real, but the freaking effects just make you in that moment go, oh god, if I was there, I had brown pants. Better wear brown pants. This guy got the right idea. He wore the brown pants.
All right, so you've got Tyrion tries to open the discussion, and then Euron decides he's going to muscle up and interrupt everything. And look, so my initial reaction was, you need to sit down and shut up. You sit down and shut up. But I'm usually in the minority there. So, I mean, thoughts on Euron Greyjoy?
He needed to sit down and shut up.
All right.
He definitely needed to sit down and shut up, but I love that he had to wait until someone else was talking to be like, you know what, I want to talk instead. I want to be the big guy right here.
That's the thing I don't like about him. Like, I want him to die badly.
Oh, yeah. You're supposed to hate him. Remember, because we're starting to like some characters that we hated. Like, we hated Jaime Lannister. Now we love Jaime Lannister.
It was our on our Facebook feed, like Brian Roman or some such other person who's been interacting with us frequently about Game of Thrones said that there's just been a 7-year build up to going, okay, incest isn't terrible.
Yeah, that's I think that was Brian. Yeah.
Not terrible. And it took 7 years for us to get there, apparently.
And Euron, just with this scene, it's just really just, even Cersei's like, oh, really? Like, you have to be that asshole. He's the asshole at the meeting that wants to be like, before we start, I have a series of questions. We're going to get to that whole, we're going to get to it all.
Listen, I have one quick question. It's in 6 parts.
Right.
It's just like, this meeting isn't about this. We're here for something else. And I mean, Theon doesn't, I didn't see Theon even care about really what was being said. Like, he didn't visibly just give it up. Like, he didn't cower at that moment. And I thought that was good on Theon.
All right.
Yeah, Theon's growing a set. I mean, what I found interesting, the Hound's interaction with the Mountain right before everything starts.
This isn't how it ends. You know who's coming.
You know who's coming for you.
Right.
That was really cool.
He means he's coming for you.
Oh, yes. The Hound is coming for you, and
that is going to be a battle.
I even like the moment too where he's got the coffin or the box with him, and the Lannister guard's like, "What's in there?" He goes, "If you touch that, I'll kill you."
Right.
And you're just like, "All right, Hound, you're good," because that guy obviously wants to open it. And I'm imagining that the scene,
it's like, don't push this button.
Right. I'm imagining the scene is the rest of the Lannisters going, "Who's going to open it? Are you going to open it, Jim? Are you going to open it? You're not going to open it? Ah, you pussy, Jim."
Well, the crazy thing is, you've got the the Hound who just sort of puts this thing on his back, and this crate doesn't weigh 5 pounds, right? It's a giant wooden crate. The thing probably weighs as much as a full-grown man, and then he's got this White Walker inside of it, and he's just, I'm just going to carry it up from the pit, put it down, kick it over, and then this thing goes barreling after Cersei. And I'm just going, oh, this is interesting.
Everybody flinched, which was the best thing. Even the people that knew that it was coming.
Right.
And as a viewer, they give you that first person perspective, and they have it jolt at you. And it's like the first moments that you see zombies in,
don't say Walking Dead.
I was going to say 28 Days Later.
Okay, much
Or if
better.
you're going to see Dawn of the Dead, or heck, even the Shaun of the Dead ones, where they're just like, oh, these people will totally just murder you. And it was a jarring moment. And I know I jumped in my chair, and I can only imagine being there when that's happening. Like, you've got to lose your freaking mind. Not only do you got the dragon scaring the shit out of you, now you got like a zombie coming at you. Yeah, no, it's terrifying.
Qyburn actually was fully tumescent.
Qyburn was the only person who was just like, yeah.
Qyburn is like, I'd like to do some experiments with you. So look, it's at this moment that you kind of see Euron for the first time act like a bitch, like a baby back bitch,
Like a biggity bitch.
Hey, can these things swim? No, I'm out. It like pulls the ripcord, ejects.
And that moment there made me not believe Cersei later on when she was like, oh, you think he ran away? I sent him to go get some mercenaries. I was like, nah, he was fucking terrified. He left without giving you a heads up or a nod. It's not like you knew this was going to happen. Like,
no, he went over to Dany and said, we're both from islands. I'm going to go back to mine. You should go back to yours. And then we'll meet up when everybody else is dead.
Right. So do you buy the fact that she said that him leaving was planned so he can go get mercenaries?
I believe that she is going to try to sway Euron. I also believe that his leaving was not her plan.
Right.
But I mean, I also, if I could, Brian, could you keep tally of how many different ways CJ says Cersei in this episode? It's been 3 different ways thus far.
And it annoys the fuck out of me every time.
That's why I do it. But the thing that we haven't talked about was Tyrion's approach, and the fact that Tyrion is the lead presenter to this, and he's giving everyone the information, even though Euron cut him off. He's still leading this charge, and it's Lannister to Lannister at that moment, and it's not the hand to Lannister, it's brother to sister, and it's countryman to countryman kind of moment, and it was an interesting. I don't know why they chose Tyrion to lead the conversation. I really thought Jon would have made a better speech or somebody else.
Tyrion's the most well-spoken.
Yep. For
As
sure.
much as we love John is just going to be like, there's White Walkers coming.
Is that your Jon
Batten
Snow?
down the hatches.
I know nothing.
I know nothing.
That is terrible.
I've already bent the
Okay,
knee.
so he would have been
Listen,
more
I
of the-
can't do Jon Snow. I can kind of do Irish. That's
he
about
would have
it.
been the aliens guy from the History Channel, right? He just would have talked nonsense and conspiracies.
Right,
and everyone
like
would have been
John
turned
is
off.
not convincing. Like, think about how long it took to convince Danny.
Yeah, the problem is he's not only like not eloquent, he is also like singular minded. Like he just is going one direction. He can't process multiple thoughts.
And he's that guy who's just like, hey, we got to do this.
He's
and
Ned
then people
Stark.
go, yeah, but people go, why do we have to do this? And he goes, because you gotta.
Because it's the right thing.
Yeah,
Because it's
duty.
the right
Right,
thing.
yeah.
It's your
Because
duty.
he's got no,
and at
like,
least Tyrion understands the nuance of what's happening.
All right, yeah, no, I stand corrected. Then.
Which is why he's leading the charge. But then you've got Cersei's like, oh look, it seems pretty simple to me. Like I can do this for you if you'll bend the knee. And he's like, oh, but I've already bent the knee. And everybody's like, no.
Yeah, you can hear the collective,
Like collective
just hands
head
hitting
slap.
the forehead.
Yeah, just
Yep.
head slap. No, you don't say that. You tell her what she wants to hear, and then you do what you want to do anyway.
that's how the Game of Thrones works.
He's Ned Stark. I mean,
He
he's
is Ned Stark.
He's the true believer.
And did he bring up Ned in this episode that, people said this about my father and then this is how he died? Or was that last episode? No one remembers. Okay.
Prior to or post Cersei storming off, and prior to sort of maybe the most interesting scene, Tyrion sort of turns to Jon and says, have you ever considered learning how to lie just a bit? And Jon's kind of like, I don't like, because when people make false promises, words stop meaning anything. Blah blah blah. I'm super noble.
Excuse me, I have to control copy and control paste a Ned Stark speech.
I was
going to
say, didn't
right now.
Ned Stark say that exact same thing?
Well, it's what
yeah,
got him killed.
Right. It very likely is a Ned Stark quote. However, it just, I don't know. I don't think anybody's learned anything from the death of Ned Stark at this point. And it's 7 years later, and I'm angry about it still.
Well, Jon's thing though is that he obviously he doesn't want more of the same. That's why he partnered with Daenerys. That's why he actually bent the knee, and he sees what's happening, and that's why he's trying to lead this rebellion in a different way. Yes, it's an idealistic way to approach things. Is it wrong in this political climate in Westeros? Hell yes. But you have to admire the fact that he'll actually stand up and have integrity for what he's saying. Yes, it's the wrong move. And yes, I think it has some huge implications for what's going to happen in the future. But you got to give it to Jon at that point for just not being an asshole. Like just not being a liar and being able to stick to his integrity. I don't know what that's going to lead to, but you got to admire it.
It's the same reason we all loved Ned and wanted him to succeed. We want Jon to succeed. We want him to sit on the Iron Throne because he is the best thing about the show. It is every single Stark's problem is that they are too good. They all have died.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't see this ending well for Jon as much as I want it to. We all know that in this world, and maybe in our world to an extent, that having integrity and being honest and keeping your word gets you killed. So I'm not hopeful for Jon next season.
Well, I think that's maybe the most ridiculous thing you've ever said.
I would agree
That's
with that.
not true at
what
all.
are you,
I've said some pretty ridiculous shit on the show. You don't think he'll sacrifice himself to kill the White Walkers?
I don't think he can die. So I think it doesn't matter. I don't think he can die. I mean, he's been stabbed 37,000 times and came back, and then he was drowned and came back. I feel like he's good to go.
When did he drown? Battle of the Bastards?
No, he drowned in the lake when he came out after the whole dragon dying thing. Like,
under the
last
ice.
episode.
He was dead.
Remember when I yelled about the stupid sword didn't blink? Because, by the way, the sword did not
Yes,
blink.
I remember
I don't know.
the sword didn't blink.
I saw the sword blink.
The sword did not blink.
I saw the sword open its
It's
eye.
been
a camera
confirmed the sword didn't blink by
I don't
the
know who
showrunners.
confirmed it, but I saw it.
The showrunners.
I didn't read that moment as him drowning, but okay.
I mean, even look at the spot where his scar is the same as the first men. He can't die. Bulletproof.
I think he's gonna die.
You're an idiot. All right, but Josh, you were saying before we rudely interrupted you the interaction between Tyrion and Cersei.
I think that was the most interesting scene of the finale, and it was.
She's really playing up this baby.
It was anticlimactic, but I think there was a lot of speculation that came out of that scene. So
I gotta say though, before we speculate what happened in the scene, something that was happening, and I was like, oh no, what are you doing? Was Tyrion pouring the glass of wine that was been sitting out there? I'm like, she poisoned it. Oh no, because he pours the second glass and she doesn't drink it, or just like, oh no. And I was like, Tyrion's gonna die because of poison. Oh, this is gonna suck, and then this is gonna make Jaime want to kill Cersei. Oh, this is gonna be great. And, he just had a drink.
It was just wine, man.
I know. I was hoping for poison.
Wow, way to read way too much into the scene. God damn.
That was like, we know Tyrion likes to drink. He kind of gave it up for a little bit. And if you were her, you would totally poison the wine if you want to kill him. I'm just saying. Just waiting for it.
I have a giant zombie who can like swing a sword at a little man. I'm good. I don't need to poison people. Especially since she's not a poisoner.
Here's the thing. Like, is the pregnancy still a ruse, and it's gone further now because she knows Tyrion has a weakness for her children, or
no?
I think it is. No, I definitely think it is. She's playing this shit up. Like,
right.
She's like touching her stomach. She's all like, "Oh, woe is me, I'm pregnant." Like, without actually saying it. Like, she wants Tyrion to know because she's a manipulative bitch. And she knows exactly what Tyrion's going to do after that.
So I felt that way until I read a couple theories. And the first person I actually read it from was John Negroni, who's been on our podcast. He brought up the fact that maybe this is what's happening. Cersei is actually pregnant. And when Peter Dinklage. That's
Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage.
When Tyrion realizes that, this is now changing the dynamic because I know how she feels about her children. And they kind of cut the scene. They don't finish it. They don't tell you what's going on or what the deal was made with. And the theory is that he says, oh, geez, I know that Dany can't have children. We've obviously have no line of succession, hence that we brought it up in the last episode. I will promise to take your child as a ward for Dany, and she or the child will then become the heir to the Iron Throne. Your child will now sit on the Iron Throne, and that is one of the only reasons that she would just willy-nilly just kind of go with the plan and not instantly screw the pooch. And hence why, at the end of the episode, Tyrion's in the hallway just obviously affected by what's going on. Not because he wanted to get Dany, but because, oh no, this is really going to complicate the plan I just made with my sister for the next heir. And it's why we brought up the line of succession. It's why we didn't show the rest of the conversation. And it's the best reason for her to go with the plan like she had initially planned.
No, well, I mean, that's a crazy theory. And,
I don't agree with any of that.
Well, I don't
have a theory. I just don't agree with any of it.
I've read it, and there's a lot. He's skulking, skulking around, and is it because he betrayed Daenerys? Maybe. I don't know. I thought that the exchange between Jon and Daenerys before leaving King's Landing was interesting, where Daenerys says she can't have children, and he's like, well, who told you that? It was a witch. Well, I mean, is that really credible kind of thing? And I'm like, I feel like what he kind of said, well, challenge accepted. And
I will put something in that.
Right. Right. So I think, interestingly enough, you've got that. Cersei then, basically tells Jaime, I don't mean anything I just said.
Can we talk about that scene between Cersei and Jaime?
Oh, you mean Jaime storming off?
That is like the end of their relationship.
It is. It's over.
Awesome. And just Cersei, like, I thought there was going to be some sort of big moment where Jaime was just like, oh, fuck this bitch. But it really was just a conversation of, yeah, I know I gave my word. I don't give a shit that I gave my word. I'm going to do my own thing, and you're going to go with me. And if you don't, I'll kill you.
Which was Jon's whole issue about telling a lie. And then there's Jaime having the same kind of feeling that Jon did, We can't just throw around these, like, my honor means something. I know I'm the Kingslayer, and I know I'm the guy who has sex with his sister, but, like, I said I would do something.
It goes deeper than that, though. It goes back to the Lannisters always pay their debts. If a Lannister tells you they're going to do something or give you something, they do it.
Right. And even though she's all about the family, and because she brings up with Tyrion the whole part about you ruined our family, you've ruined it. That our family is dead because of you. And I think she feels that way, that she doesn't really give a shit about the Lannister name so much. It's now just her and her legacy. And I really honestly thought that the Mountain was going to cut him down. I thought this was how he was going to meet his maker. I mean, they set it up that no one walks away from me. It's already happened once today, and here's two. And I was like, this is going to get really bloody really quick. This show got me on like a lot of things this episode.
Yeah, so going on to the thing that I think got everybody, and I think the big holy shit moment is Sansa having Arya brought into the Great Hall in Winterfell.
Oh, this was so good.
Right. And Arya standing there, are you sure you want to do this? Is this what you want to do, kind of thing? And Sansa starts reading out her charges: treason, conspiracy. Everybody's going, oh, you can't possibly. And then she turns to Littlefinger. Do you deny it? What was I want to know what your reaction was.
You've seen Tiger Woods after he makes the
fist pump,
the fist pump in the air. Like if there was a truck nearby, I would hear a horn.
Yeah.
My wife, my children were both sleeping, and my wife and I are trying to celebrate without making a fucking sound. It was like a game of charades in my house. We were so excited, and especially just to watch him panic. I was so happy. But Brian, I want to know what your reaction was when you did.
I don't have any sleepy children, so I was like, "Fuck yes!"
Laura had the same reaction as Brian. Like stood up off the sofa. Was like, "Fuck yeah!"
It's good to see someone get their comeuppance.
Well, it was great.
We've been waiting for it, right? Forever. Since season 1, we've been waiting for this, for somebody to finally get to him.
Well, and I don't know if it was maybe last week or maybe 2 weeks ago where we were saying, oh, Arya and Sansa, they seem at odds with each other. And we were like, are they playing him? Are they not playing him? And then someone brought up, or I read somewhere, it's just like,
I believe it was me that said Arya's totally playing him.
Right. But the other part of that was, don't they have a brother who can see everything? Like, why don't we utilize that? And they did. And I saw the best meme on Twitter. You guys know the picture of Lin-Manuel Miranda coming out of like the side door with his phone, like pointing at his phone.
Yeah.
And the tweet read, Littlefinger, you don't have any proof of these charges, Bran. And then that picture.
Right.
My favorite thing too was him going, give me a moment, please, if you can. And then he runs over. I'm the Lord Commander of the Vale. Take me to safety. And then the meme that I saw was kind of going back to Oblivion or Skyrim is, you cannot fast travel when enemies are right, nearby. Right. You're just like, yeah, dude, your parliamentary procedure of please don't kill me, that's not gonna fly here. It's time to pay the piper.
It was for me the biggest gotcha moment of the series thus far. I don't think there's been a bigger one. And having it happen in a finale, not the episode before the finale, which is usually so action packed, and it was nice that even though there wasn't a giant battle, which we're accustomed to seeing, second to last episode, this episode was full of little things to set up a bigger finish later. And I think Littlefinger dying is a huge deal.
And I love the poetic justice of he dies by his own blade.
Right.
But the blade has been in his family for years. And it's Arya who gets to strike the blow.
She just kind of walks by him and just and it's over.
Yep.
She's not even trying. I'm just sort of casually slitting your throat and watching him bleed
just
out.
Choking on the blood, and just like it's everything that he deserved, all in one moment. After all the terrible things he did to Sansa, and everything that he's done to the Stark family, and it's the Starks who bring him to justice. Like if it was any other house, that took him down, I would have been happy, but not as happy as watching the Starks just exact their revenge and get justice. It felt awesome to watch him die.
All right. Final thoughts, Brian, on Littlefinger and that scene?
The look on his face was fucking priceless.
I'm begging you, please. Oh, God.
It was very good.
When they turned to him, he's just like, fuck what? What? That was fantastic. I am glad to see Arya scratch somebody off of her list. And yeah, I've been waiting for this guy to die since season 1. This is one character that I've not hated and then liked. So this was a very satisfying moment.
I agree. The other Winterfell part for me that was very enjoyable, probably the biggest chuckle of this episode for me, was Sam arriving and sitting down with Bran, and Bran is like, "I'm the three-eyed raven," and Sam's like, "Well, that's nice."
That's nice.
And I lost my shit.
Great.
That's nice. What is that?
Could you explain what that means? I see everything. Oh, good. Yeah, it was just a very sort of innocent, awkward Samwell Tarly type conversation that I thought was great.
What I don't understand though is that Sam and Bran are talking, and Bran's like, "Well, we have to tell Jon that he's a Targaryen," and Sam's like, Bron's like, "His name's not Jon Snow, it's Jon Sand, because bastards in Dorne are named Sand." And Samwell's like, "There was an annulment that I read about or heard about. So he's not Jon Snow, he's actually Aegon Targaryen." How does Bran not know that if he sees everything?
Well,
Bran's like, "Wait, what?"
It was a secret. It was a secret ceremony in Dorne.
That Dorne, the person who can't see everything can't see?
Well, I think the three-eyed raven historically has been sort of limited to areas where,
like mainland Westeros.
Well, the old gods, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And Dorne doesn't really have that so much. So I could see there being limitations there, and certainly outside of, like CJ said, mainland Westeros, there's going to be a problem.
I'm also just thinking, just the all. If you can see all, like, you're going to lose something. Like
and like annulments and secret weddings are probably not under his purview.
But I love the fact that Bran's narrating this scene. We get to see the actual wedding, which was sweet. But Bran's
narrating, and then you get to see Jon and Snow, right? And Jon Snow and Dany just
we're narrating the incest as it's happening. Like, hey, just to remind you, while you're rooting for this to happen, that is an aunt having sex with her nephew. Just so we're all clear,
right?
And that's what's happening now.
I think that was done on purpose, because everybody that I talked to was all like, "Yeah, I really wanted it to happen, but not like that." Yeah. Like. They're just like, I didn't need to hear the story about how they're related while they're
doing it,
having relations. And I'm like, you realize that was done on purpose just to make you feel that way.
But Aegon, that's cool. I mean, now here's my question. Do we call him Aegon now? Do we call him Jon? What's the protocol for naming?
I'm calling him Iggy.
Iggy Snow.
Why are you calling him Iggy?
He's got this awesome cover of Ice Ice Baby coming.
Because it seems like a good nickname for Aegon.
I'm still calling him Jon Snow until...
I'm just saying, with that fur blanket he's wearing, he's so fancy.
You mean the IKEA? The IKEA?
Yeah.
Yeah. I get the I'm so fancy song.
I'm so fancy.
Listen, I'm going to call him Jon until he embraces his Targaryen thing. But listen,
his mama called him Iggy. I'm going to call him Iggy.
We finally got confirmation, though. Like, this is now officially canon that they are related, that this whole theory happened, and all this is confirmed. We actually get to see the wedding. So, I mean, like...
And the only people that know it are Sam Tarly and the Three-Eyed Raven. So, we've got quite a long way to go from what we know now and everyone actually following this guy.
Now, here's the question, and we've talked about this before, and I've bitched about no one cares about the paperwork, but what does Dany do when she finds this out?
She keeps banging him.
She's like, yeah, my ancestors did it.
But does she go, oh, well, now you'll be king? Does she?
No,
it's not
no.
going to matter because she's going to be pregnant and there's going to be an heir.
Yeah, it's not going to matter. They need to preserve the Targaryen bloodline anyway, so they're going to be like, well, we might as well keep doing this. Why the heck not?
Oh, something else.
We're going to need to make a boy and a girl because
And then they can ring as king and queen. I mean, I've been very firm in the fact that Jon does not want the throne. He
Right.
has
Jon-
no
Jon-
aspirations to power.
no, but he has also been very firm.
Oh, he was very firm in that scene.
In
I
that
think we
scene,
all
yeah.
were a little firm there.
Yeah,
like,
tumescent. Yeah.
So he doesn't want power. He doesn't want the throne. So even if he is the rightful heir, he's going to be like, I'm going to follow you wherever you go. If you want to rule together, let's do it. I don't care. You wear the pants in this relationship. I just am the one who's supplying the seed and, go from there.
Something you said reminded me of that. You said that she wants to preserve the Targaryen bloodline, and it dawned on me when Dany was actually in the arena that this was where the Targaryens came to power, and they had dragons
In the dragon pit, right?
They had dragons roaming the skies, and they were everywhere, and just how crazy that must have been in that moment of history. And then,
Yeah, no one's talking about the fact that if we want more dragons, a little dragon incest is going to happen. Too.
right.
Just saying.
And then we're also at the fact that we get to see just how quickly this family fell, and just how kind of important. I mean, like I really got the importance of her wanting to come back here. Like it actually meant something to me now, instead of this just I have to I should be the rightful person because all the people who are on the Iron Throne are bad. It's like no, this is the heritage. This is where we came from, and this is the town that we built, and someone took it away from us. And it never dawned on me that way, and it made me kind of connect with her a little more. And I was kind of happy to learn all that. Plus, really tiny dragon skulls, which were weird. How small the dragons got, and look how big they are now.
Even more so when everyone learns that Robert's Rebellion was built on a lie. So
Yeah, that too.
Well, that's none of my business.
I did my best Kermit sip. But before we talk about the conclusion of the episode, there was a scene between Jon Snow, a.k.a. Iggy, and
Don't make that
Theon.
catch on, please.
and Theon, where
Yes.
essentially Jon forgives. He says, what I can forgive you for, I do. You're a Greyjoy and you're a Stark, which was all right. I'm liking this little.
I was
goosebump
misty.
action. Yeah, I get the vapors a little bit. But then Theon takes on a guy who beats him to a pulp and then tries to knee him in the balls 3 times, and then Theon kills him by beating him to death. I mean, just give me thoughts, just a couple on Theon, his arc right now, and what you expect.
I feel like Theon is finally getting over the traumatic experience that he underwent over the past couple of seasons. He looks up to Jon. He sees Jon as the closest thing to Ned Stark, and he always looked up to Ned. So I mean, I love that interaction between the two of them. I thought it was very much like a conversation you have with your brother. Like, dude, I'm sorry, I fucking totaled your car. And you're like, it's fine, man. We're brothers at the end of the day. You're like, I'm pissed, but I forgive you. So I thought that was a really touching scene, and I think Theon is in this last season destined for great things and inevitable death. I think he's going to do everything he can to save his sister because he knows that he's been a complete screw up all the way up to this point, and he needs to make it right somehow. So I love it. I'm starting to like Theon again.
The hardest thing in life for anyone is admitting you were wrong, not only to yourself, but saying out loud to the person that you wronged. And it took a lot of courage for Theon to come to Jon this way, because they could have easily just let this be unspoken. And Jon, being the guy he is, would have slowly started to forgive Theon, but words would never have been exchanged. And Theon decided that it was time for him to have some courage and to have some respect for himself and have the conversation. And I was really moved by it. I think it also is obviously the inspiration for him to have honor. But the moment that struck me the most was when he talked to Jon and he said, I see you and you remind me of Ned, and you make it seem so easy. You always do the right thing, and John's like, listen, I don't always do the right thing. It's incredibly hard, and it only looks like it's easy. But, just like you said, I'll forgive you for what I can forgive you for. And seeing that kind of relieved, I think put the courage back in him to go after his own family, because he is both a Stark and a Greyjoy. And he's been stuck within these worlds, and he's been pulled apart from it. He's been tortured because of it.
That's the other thing, though. He's been tortured because he thought for the longest time he either needed to be a Stark or a Greyjoy.
Right.
That's the reason he went, and he took over Winterfell, and he made like he burned the 2 kids and all this other stuff because he thought he had to choose Greyjoy. It never dawned on him that he could be both. Until this moment.
And what needs to happen for me, for Theon's arc, is he needs to sacrifice himself either for his sister, for the Stark family. He can't live. I think in order for him to be at zero, for him to be back to balanced and to be at peace, he needs to sacrifice himself for somebody else. He needs to make that sacrifice. And I think it'll be good. And I think it will redeem that character for all the terrible shit he's done. And all the stuff that was done to him. I think he'll be at peace. What did you think about it, Josh? Yeah.
Look, Theon's gonna die. And I think that he will die admirably. I think that he will die doing the right thing and saving his sister. He needs to die, and he deserves to die. But he's made amends. I mean, a million times over. If you didn't read the books, you don't know the atrocities he suffered as Reek. I mean, you can imagine, but you don't know. I do know. He has done his time for sure 10 times over. So it's having Jon forgive him and having him sort of venture out on his own is a bonus for Theon, but he's still going to die and die well. I want to wrap this up with a very brief discussion. Your impressions of we went from, sort of episode 1, seeing a creepy little girl, to now an army of the dead hits Eastwatch, and we've got the Night King riding a blue fire spitting dragon. Viserion doing what dragons do, but tears down a magical wall.
When it was the scene right before that was the ship that Dany and Jon were on, the Targaryen emblem in the sun, and I looked at my wife and was like, this episode is way too happy. What's gonna happen? This scene with the fog coming through, the White Walkers showing up, everyone losing their freaking mind at the wall, only to have the damn dragon just come out and just breathe fire, not ice, but whatever, cool.
Blue fire. I'm fine with blue fire.
I was right.
Or plasma.
You were right. You were right.
I love being right.
Was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. Then we see a lot of characters. We got a lot of red shirts dying, but I don't know how Tormund and Beric are still alive. I thought that was a cheat, but whatever.
It's not a cheat.
They should have died. The whole wall should have died. Everyone should be dead.
Tormund Giantsbane has
They got lucky rabbit's feet. Listen, I get it. They got away. Okay, it's fine.
How do you know they got away?
He's a survivor. Beric Dondarrion is a survivor.
Yes, part of the wall, Brian, is still standing, and they were bolting that way. They're alive. The thing that got me, and the thing that I noticed right away, and I thought I was a complete Looney Tunes for it until I saw it on the internet the next day. Because I even asked my wife, "Did you see that?" She said, "No, you're crazy." Was as the army was walking down towards Winterfell, they were going through a little passage, and they formed the Stark emblem. They formed the freaking direwolf right there in the path, and if you freeze frame it, you'll see it.
Like they were a college band?
Like they were a marching band, exactly. And they formed the sigil of House Stark. And I looked at my wife. They
formed a wolf. Are you kidding?
No, seriously. I can get you the screenshot.
Give me the screenshot. I require proof.
In the show notes.
I don't believe you.
I think this is totally coincidental, by the way.
No.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the wolf opening
Like
its eyes.
like Longclaw blinking.
No, because it feeds into a way bigger theory now.
Longclaw blinked because he knew there was incest coming. And, and the wolf
Longclaw opens its eyes when incest is near.
This as the guys look at the picture I'm sending, you can obviously go to our show notes to see the link for it. This feeds into a huge theory about Brandon and Night King, which we're not going to get into, but this moment means something. This is not accidental. This is not the wolf blinking because of deposit on the freaking hilt. This is
I
someone
think it looks like a bunny.
had to pay a lot of money to make this happen. This is very important. I just don't know what it means, but it really puts fuel on the fire if you are following the Bran Stark is the Night King theory. But
He is not the Night King.
I didn't say he was. I just said this puts fuel on the fire. But that look at that. Are you telling me that is not the sigil for the Stark house?
Looks like a bunny.
Josh? This isn't like if you close your eyes and squint and then turn your head a little sideways and take 12 feet back. It
reads
kind of looks like
President of the United States.
Right. It's not that. This looks like the sigil of House Stark.
It doesn't look like anything. It certainly doesn't look like a wolf. Dude, I get it. I don't buy it. I don't buy it for a second.
I just don't know why they would cut away to show them at a formation like this, because when they came to the wall, they weren't. Okay, that's fine.
Have you ever watched a collegiate band?
Yes,
I mean, that takes practice. Right? And these assholes, they just stumble around.
Right. I get that, which is the defense of calling this thing, BS.
It is BS.
But
I don't buy it.
Anyway,
for a second.
I'll figure out how to cut that around. But I saw this. I saw this when it happened, and I thought it was crazy, and I know I'm not the only person who saw it, so I feel good that way. And I may be completely wrong, and maybe reading into it, whatever. But I thought it was interesting. I thought it was at least bringing it up.
As interesting as it might be, can I get just a 1 sentence or 2 sentence wrap up from each of you on this season of Game of Thrones?
Everybody is finally where they need to be in order for the show to conclude, for this story to be over. This season was fast paced in a great way. Nothing felt rushed. Everything felt like we needed to have everyone where they needed to be physically, emotionally, strategically. We did set up a huge issue with what's going to happen if the North and the South don't work together, and that's going to cause a lot of issues and a lot of problems. But the most telling scene, the thing that kind of summarized this whole season, was when Jaime Lannister is leaving King's Landing and a snowflake falls on his glove, and he realizes that the South has now officially met winter, and winter is coming, and the world better prepare for it.
Brian?
Mine is not nearly as eloquent as any of that bullshit. The entire season as a whole, I think it's a great season. I enjoy the story thus far that is being told. I feel like the season's pacing feels off compared to what we're used to. I am not sure whether or not that is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm still undecided on that. But I think there are some very interesting things in store. I am extremely happy with the way that the character development has happened, and the stories have kind of started crossing together and becoming one storyline now, which is really good to see that we've waited 6 seasons to see some of these people on the screen at the same time. And it's nice to see that happening finally. I'm extremely excited for next season and seeing some of these people die or maybe not die. We'll see. But yeah, I think this coming season is going to be intense. I think Dany and Jon are going to be fighting a war from both ends between the White Walkers and that bitch freaking Cersei Lannister. And I think it's going to be cool to see how that kind of turns out and plays out in this next season. So there you go.
There you have it. I want to thank everyone for joining us for this season's coverage of Game of Thrones. We will be back in 5 or 6 years with the next season's coverage of Game of Thrones. It's been a pleasure bringing this to you each week. Thank you for listening. We'll see you soon.